Conversation is going round. People talking about the colors come to town. Fresh as a summer breeze, she'll take you by surprise.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of Fresh Waves. We are a Whistle FM production done in Stouffville, Ontario. And we have wonderful, wonderful shows with great conversation, terrific talking tips, all kinds of things to keep you engaged and interested for a good hour or two. All of our shows are podcast on freshwaves.ca. And the show can be heard Wednesday and Sunday mornings at 10 on Whistle FM in Stouffville. That's 102.9 or on the internet, whistlefm.com. Our technical producer is Jason Rumball. Jay, good morning.
Good morning, Brent. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Now, while we're live on the air on Wednesday morning, how do people get a hold of us if they'd like to ask our guests any questions?
Yes, we have a Facebook page, Fresh Waves on Whistle FM. Give us a like there and send in your questions. We're also on Twitter at Fresh Waves Radio, and you can call us at the station if you want, 905-640-1027.
Perfect. And of course, we've got engaging guests, engaging conversations. This is an engaging kind of show. And we'd like to give a big shout out to Reese's Market and Bakery for the fabulous muffins that we have in the studio every Wednesday morning.
Great muffins.
Yes. Today we're having oatmeal cranberry and they're lovely.
Delicious. Very good, yeah.
And Reese's is at 5758 Main Street in Stouffville. Our guest today is our every third Wednesday guest. Mm-hmm. And the every third Wednesday guest is none other than Jolana Pettifer of Jolana's Exceptional Home Decor.
Good morning,
Drum
and
roll,
Happy
please.
New Year.
And Happy New Year to you. This is the first show you've done. I haven't seen you since last year.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Seems like so long ago.
It actually does, because so much happens in the month of December, as you know. Yeah. You're super busy in December, and of course we finished off the year talking about Christmas trees and the Home for Christmas tour in Stouffville and
which
decorating.
Was unbelievable this year.
It was
great.
Really fun, really fun indeed. Anyway, now we're going to talk about what happens in the new year.
Yeah.
Refresh, warm. Mm-hmm. It's cold outside, baby. It's cold outside, but it doesn't have to be cold inside.
No, that's
and
right.
even in the most modern of homes, with the ultra-modern decor, you can still do certain things to warm it up. And I saw some beautiful examples of that at the home that you did for the Home for Christmas tour.
Yeah.
Where you had a really modern kind of a family room, but it felt warm and cozy.
Yeah. It's
and
the elements that you use.
Yes. I actually walked around looking for the Jolana tips because we've talked about it before. So, you know, that it was a nice opportunity to see it in live play. And wow. Right off the bat, I noticed the white faux fur throw in the family room. Yep. I noticed the candles it looked
on
like an antler kind of a thing, but it wasn't real antlers. It was
with all the candles.
Yeah, a metal thing, but the candles were in each of the horns kind of thing. It was lovely. And it was really warm with a warm glow of candles.
Yeah, it was gorgeous, right? So even though the contemporary homes tend to be very clean, very angular, not a whole lot of texturizing, just by simply putting that skin or that hide on top of the coffee table and then putting that incredible piece, which was an objet d'art, and it can stay up for forever. You can probably use it all year long. It's such a great piece. It's incredible how it adds that, like you said, that warmth factor to the room.
It really was warming.
Yeah.
Well,
and
I like fire.
There.
I think fire just warms anything.
Yeah, I think so too.
Sometimes a little too hot, but that's okay.
I agree.
Okay, so we theoretically have put away the Christmas decorations.
Not all of it. Because I'm going to tell you some things not to put away.
Okay, let's talk about what we're not putting away. And if you've already put it away, dig it back out.
Yeah. So I think by now most people are either going to be doing it this weekend or they have already taken down their Christmas tree. I believe the Ukrainian Christmas was just passed, wasn't it, this last week?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, again, so most of the Christmas trees are going to be coming down very, very shortly if they're not already down. If you recall, when we were talking in December and November, putting up winter decor, not so much Christmas decor. Because the biggest complaint I seem to get from a lot of people is they've got all this ambiance at Christmas time. Then January comes, they put it all away, and they go, oh my gosh, look at my house.
It looks so bare naked.
It looks so bare naked. So this is where I've really tried to teach people that you can, first of all, put it up in stages and take it down in stages. So, for example, keeping up that beautiful magnolia garland on the fireplace or on your front buffet as you walk into the door. Most people will have something there.
Right.
Or keeping up like a winter wreath that I suggest putting over top of a mirror, for example, with some nice ribbon. So there are elements that you can definitely keep up for, oh goodness gracious, another 4 weeks for sure.
We've got another 8 weeks of winter.
I know we do.
I guess you want to make the transition to spring sometime in March, but boy, oh boy, it often doesn't get warm until towards the end of April.
No, absolutely not. Usually January and February are our two coldest months, although we have somehow escaped the snow so far, which is absolutely incredible to me. But yeah, so keep the winter decor up because it really does add. And even the hides, like we have used them in powder rooms on the floor. When it is so cold in the winter, to walk in and have that, fluffy hide on the floor, it looks incredible. And it adds that textural element. We actually had one in the Christmas tour home. And we had more comments.
I was just noticing the wreath on the wall in the bathroom and the garland and everything.
That
just is what caught my eye when I first went in.
Yeah, so those elements are really fun to use, and you can certainly keep them down for a long time.
Now, what about the green garland minus the red Christmas balls or something on the fireplace? Is that socially acceptable or decoratingly acceptable to leave up?
Again, this is where you hear me talk about magnolia leaves, because magnolia leaves are one of those florals that transition all year long. So even if you have your green garland and you have some of the magnolia leaves tucked into it, that very much is wintry, so you would be fine. Even throwing in, some white flowers or something would look very, very nice, whether you go for like the hydrangeas or the amaryllises, which are very winter acceptable. Stay away from the reds, because red, of course, is again very much associated with your Christmas decor.
Right.
So keep it more winter-ishy, so green and white and brown. So pine cones, for example, are another wonderful element to sort of keep out, because it does look really, really pretty.
And they don't have to be the sparkly silver ones.
No, you don't want sparkly. Yeah, now you're going more into that more natural look.
Okay. What about the birch bark? It's very popular right now.
I was about to say that. Absolutely 100%. You could even have the birch bark kind of tucked into it, or have beside your fireplace some birch logs that you don't intend to use.
Burn, yeah.
Right?
They're just there to look pretty.
They just look really pretty. So yeah, birch is a great element. 100%, it's a great element.
I actually put the birch logs unsplit in my fireplace in the living room, because I'm not using that fireplace very often, and I don't like the look of the used fireplace thing where there's just a bunch of ashes on the ground. So I put the logs in, in that three-tiered pyramid kind of a thing.
Right?
It just looks nice.
Yeah, and the other thing you can also do in your fireplace is, if you're not a huge fan of bringing in logs, candles of all different sizes, heights, and you put those on, and it will actually feel like it's a fireplace going. It's lovely. So food for thought for those of you that don't... you're going to miss the smell, but you don't have the ashes and the cleanup afterwards, and also bringing in the logs from outside. But still, on weekends, it is so nice to have that real fire going, the crackling, the smell. There's nothing like it.
Or you can get the propane fire where you just flick the switch. Or the gas
and those are
fire.
great too. Absolutely.
They're great. And then put on a tape recording of a real fire, and then you got the spray the room with some spray that smells like a fireplace, and you're good to go. Okay, we have to take a little break. You're listening to Fresh Waves here on Whistle FM. I'm your host, Brenda Masson, and we're talking with Jolana Pettifer of Jolana's Exceptional Home Decor. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We're taking strides to make a difference, to show we care. Strides for change.
In communities across this country, MAD Canada hosts Strides for Change, an annual 5K walkathon and wheelchair event. Help raise awareness to stop impaired driving and raise funds to support the victims of this violent crime. So join the fun. Together, we can make a change.
We're taking strides to make a difference. Strides for change.
Visit stridesforchange.ca.
Hey everyone, this is Lil J. Join me every Saturday night at 11 p.m. Eastern for the Block Party, a 2-hour journey of the best in the Canadian underground dance music scene, featuring tracks and DJ mixes from Canada's emerging artists, from the disco hits of the 70s to the latest dance floor fillers. No lineups or cover charges, it's your weekly free access to the beats that are packing dance floors in Canada and around the world. The Block Party, Saturday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on 102.9 Whistle FM and online at whistleradio.ca.
And we're back on Fresh Waves. We have Jolana Pettifer in the house this morning. I'm your host, Bren Masson. We're talking about decorating, winter decorating, and refreshing. And before we go any further, a big shout out to Merle, who is at home recovering from a fall. And we hope that she's feeling better today and doing better. Winter falls can be really nasty, especially for seniors. So wish you the best of recoveries. Okay, Jolana, we're going to talk about freshening things up.
Yeah.
You know, the houses have had a lot of wear and tear after the holidays. There's a lot of guests that have come over, people who fling open a door thinking it's heavy and it's not and put the handle through the wall. Did that happen at my house? Oh, yes. Anyway, bathroom wall, here we go. So like the 4th year in a row.
I know.
Yeah, I had a door stop behind it and someone thought they were being kind and moved it. Oh. Oh, you don't want to run the door into that. Oh, yes, I do, actually. Anyway, so, you know, there's a lot of stuff that happens. You're moving things around the house. And the
daily living, right?
Yeah.
It is life. Life gets in the way. And you kind of notice things that you might not necessarily notice when you've got all these decorations up because your eye is being kind of diverted to the decorations.
Right.
So quite often in the new year, I'll say, this is an opportunity to possibly refresh. So what do I mean by that? Either repainting, touching up some of the paints, like, you know, on your corners where people have bumped into, your baseboards that get a lot of wear and tear. It's an opportunity to kind of do that slowly. You don't have to do it all at once. Do trim one weekend and maybe choose to do your walls the next weekend. So you kind of start that new year fresh. And I like that kind of refreshing theme for a new year. We all make all these, you know, new resolutions. And I think, well, why don't we start with our homes and kind of give them a new feel as well?
Right.
Yeah. So it's a good time to do it for sure.
Okay. Now, you were talking about the baseboards there. I'm trying to get a visual on what you mean. How are you going to fix up your own baseboard?
You're going to take a paintbrush and paint. So, you know, where you have, like, from the vacuum cleaner rubbing up against it. So take a paintbrush and paint your baseboards.
You'd have to do the whole thing because if you try and spot do it, then you get the one bright, clean spot and the rest of it looks
Well, you are. You're not going to just do little touches. But usually after 5-6 years, you know what? You really can use a touch-up. It's only in one coat, so it's not huge. But it does make a difference.
And what if it's a natural finish then? Are you looking at those little brushes, those little markers?
You can get the little markers or you can use an actual stain.
Okay. An actual stain sounds like a bigger project to me.
Yeah, but you just use a little paintbrush, right?
Okay. And the little paintbrushes, are you getting those at craft stores or are you going to a paint store?
Yeah, you can go to Michael's. You can go into Inside Out. They'll have something.
Something little? Okay. We talked earlier about winter decorations.
Yep.
And I guess we could freshen up some of those because after a while I find that the Christmas decorations start to get a little ratty looking.
Yeah, and do you know why? Because they're not being stored properly the year before. So I wouldn't mind talking just a little bit about when you're putting things away. So I am a huge advocate of using the clear storage bins. You can buy them anywhere. Home Depot, Canadian Tire. They are everywhere, and most of them are actually on sale for the month of January just because they know people are putting things away. You can see what's going into it. They are not expensive, so you're not going to be cramming everything into one small box.
Right.
You're going to label. So if it's coming off of the family room fireplace, you're going to label it family room fireplace so that next year you know exactly where it goes. If you have things that have been put into it, use the clear plastic bags. Put all the items into a clear plastic bag. I love to separate it. So if I have feathers, those are going to go into one bag. If I have pine cones, they're going to go into another bag, and so on and so on. So it does make a big difference when you actually go to do it. Take pictures. Make sure you have a picture. So next year, if you loved what you did this year, you have a picture that you can use.
Okay, so that you've suggested that before, and I have done it.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference because you can see what you did that you liked. You can also see what you did that you didn't really like, and try and fix it for next year and say, well, what am I going to get that could fix that up? So, all right, but it's hard to buy new stuff right now.
It is.
A lot of the stores have taken their Christmas stuff down.
It is. So you can quite often, excuse me, I seem to have a real tickle
You
this
have
morning.
a tickle. You know what? We're going to take a little break and pay some bills at the station. And when we come back, Jolana will have coughed her guts out and everything will be fine. You're listening to Fresh Waves. We'll be right back.
Hi folks, Kim Mitchell here. You know, however you choose to get around, your ATV, your snowmobile, your boat, car, if you have a motorcycle, all these things take 100% of your attention and skill to operate safely. Alcohol impairs that, and bad things can happen. So, be smart, okay? You know what I'm going to say next.
This message brought to you from the Safe and Sober Awareness Committee.
Hey everyone, this is Lil J. Join me every Saturday night at 11 p.m. Eastern for The Block Party, a 2-hour journey of the best in the Canadian underground dance music scene, featuring tracks and DJ mixes from Canada's emerging artists, from the disco hits of the 70s to the latest dance floor fillers. No lineups or cover charges, it's your weekly free access to the beats that are packing dance floors in Canada and around the world. The Block Party, Saturday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on 102.9 Whistle FM and online at whistleradio.ca.
We are back in the studio with the not coughing now, Jolana Pettifer.
I'm so sorry. I apologize
okay.
to everybody out there.
Well, I'm your host, Bren Masson, and we were just talking about the fact that it's really difficult to try and find Christmas items right now for next year, but it might not be such a bad idea.
No. So again, the other thing I like to tell my clientele and friends is start looking now for interesting items that can be used for next year's Christmas decor. So things like weathered boards, things like birdhouses, things that you can pull out and make into this incredible little vignette. It's just a really fun way to make it personal for next year. And right now, as you notice, there's a lot of that upscale casual. So you've got kind of the relaxed of the weathered barn board look, and you've got the crispness of the whites, and they are just so magical together. So it really creates this incredible warmth but stunning look. So start looking now. Go to garage sales. Go to Karen share shops. People are purging. This is the time of year when they go, I haven't used it. I don't want it. They're going to give it away. So you'll find that there's some really incredible finds at some of these wonderful places.
Nice. That's a good idea. Although it's hard to do that, I find, because you just... Once Christmas is over, you kind of get out of the mood really soon, really quick.
You do, but don't forget, you're not looking for Christmas decorations.
Oh, right.
Right? You're looking for decor that can be incorporated into Christmas, but it can also be incorporated into day-to-day life. So it's just a really fun way to look at decorations and not necessarily the red and green balls or, sparkly things.
Okay. Well, that's good tips for people. Once they've got their clear bins, then they put everything in there for next year.
Right. Yep. Yeah. If you keep it organized, Honestly, it is so much easier to put it back up again. Your banisters, same thing. Take everything off of that you put in to stick in to make it look really wonderful. Put them into the clear bag, separate them all. Because as you start to put your garlands back up next year, you'll notice that it's very easy to insert when you've got them all divided. If it's just one big clump of a mess in a bin, you might not even do it because it's like, why bother? So just keep it organized.
Yeah, keep it organized. Okay, we touched earlier lightly on, and now we're going to talk about it in more depth, projects that we can do that refresh the home to make it look just a little fresher and brighter for the winter season that can be so long and dark.
Yeah.
So paint.
Yep. And this is an opportunity. You can keep the same colors that you already have, but you might be thinking, you know what, I wouldn't mind a focal wall. Let's change one wall in a room. It's a really fun thing to do, and it can really, really change up a room, which is why I love to do it. Things like having your carpets cleaned or your furniture cleaned. Again, start the new year with everything nice and fresh and clean looking. Changing your cushions. So this might be an opportunity again, take away all the Christmassy type cushions and put out the warmer colors. So if you want to bring interest back into the room after all those decorations have gone, that's a great way to do it. Cushions are not expensive, but it's a great way to bring in some color. So if you love oranges and blues, bring in oranges and blues. If you want more monochromatic where it's just whites, creams, grays, browns, that's fine too. But then look for really interesting textures, because it's the textures that will also add a lot of interest.
What do you mean by textures? Bumpy paint?
No, texture. So I'm talking cushions now. So they can be fluffy to ribbed to embroidered. Texture on accent cushions are wonderful, and even throws. There's some really great fur type throws out there.
Yep.
That houndstooth look is great. It'll take you through all the seasons as well, but you can interject some color to make it look really nice.
Okay. All right. Now, people have a concern with one of our listeners just Facebooked us and said she's interested in painting, but is nervous because of the smell in the wintertime and you can't open the windows.
Yeah, so there are great paints available out there. What I love about the paints today is most of them, the good ones, are self-leveling, so you don't end up with all the brush strokes that you used to have years ago if you want to paint. Going into a place like Inside Out, they're very, very knowledgeable. They're going to make sure that you have the proper base coat, and then they will also show you what paint to use on top. There are places in Stouffville that will also teach you how to refinish or how to paint to get that incredible look. So if that's something that you don't want to do it on your own, look into some of these classes that are available.
Yeah. And what about the smell now? They're not as smelly paints.
Yeah,
as
well,
they
they're not
used to be.
oil, right? So you can't use oil paint anymore. So
Right.
it really, truly is not going to be the issue that it used to be years and years and years ago.
Okay.
But don't do it out in the cold. So you're not going to do it in the garage in the middle of winter. Not a good idea.
No,
you
'cause
want
the paint doesn't.
No, that's right.
That's why you're not supposed to store
Yeah.
your paint out in the
Yeah,
garage.
that's right. Yeah, because it actually changes the chemical makeup, and it will not do what it's supposed to do, or it'll peel or what have you. So
Okay. I just noticed in our garage there's a couple of cans of spray paint that the kids have left out there that are.
yeah, they're garbage.
Yep, they're garbage. Just toss them in the garbage. Well, actually, the spray paints we're not supposed to toss in the garbage. I don't know how to dispose of them, but they have to probably go to the toxic waste
Yeah, they
place
do.
at the dump.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Anyhow, all right, what else are we doing in the wintertime to make our houses, the urns at the front? You can still keep your urn, you just got to take out the Christmas balls.
Yeah, so maybe take out the red, the green balls, add more like the large pine cones or
Right.
what have you. And it's just a really nice look. Most people I find with their urns tend to do a lot of greenery. So they'll do mixed greenery. They'll have the birch usually mixed into it. And at Christmas time, you're going to add the sparkly ribbons or the sparkly sort of accent pieces. So take those out. Red is actually good left on the outside. So if you use dogwood, for example, you know how it's red?
Yes.
Oh, it's gorgeous. But
Gives a
don't
little bit
leave
of
the
color
balls.
in the middle of the winter.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So that's a great way to kind of take away that Christmas element as people come up to the home, which is really, really nice.
Still looks nice. And people I have heard of leaving wreaths up.
I'm fine with wreaths because to me, wreaths are wintry.
Okay.
They're not so much Christmassy unless it is like a full-on Christmas wreath. Then, yeah, you may want to take some of the things off. Adding a copper ribbon and taking off a red ribbon. Great way to kind of bring in that more winter-ish feel as opposed to that Christmassy feel.
And you had kind of I don't know how to describe it. It was a green, but it was like
the
a
copper
grayish
sashes,
green. But it was a grayish green.
Yeah, so
Almost
those
like
are
an army green, I want to say.
It was sort of like that, and it's kind of iridescent, so it gives you that blue-green,
right,
almost brown look to it. And it's, again, a color that I use all the time. That's kind of one of my signature colors that I will use in every home that I do because it does transition so well. Whether you've got a country French home, modern home, doesn't matter. It just transitions beautifully. And
it transitions season to season.
It does.
Because it still has a fresh element about it for the spring. And I don't know. I just like it. It's very, it's a nice color.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's got some visual, what's the word for it? It's just got some.
It's a natural color, so it goes with everything.
It's a natural color,
yeah.
but it's also got some variety to it. Like every time you see it in a different light, and it looks a little bit different. So
yes,
it's got character.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So again, just to keep that interest in the home, keep up some of the winter decorations, get rid of more of the Christmassy decorations, throw in some great accent cushions, and I think you'll find that you really love the look. What I love to do in the wintertime, and I know a lot of my friends laugh at me, but some of them are starting to do it too, I will actually keep my table set. So in the kitchen, I'll actually, as soon as I take the dishes off to have them washed, and once they come out of the dishwasher, I reset that table right away. And I cannot tell you how wonderfully inviting it is. Number one, I'm not scurrying when I get home to try and set a table, because I'm usually doing it in the morning when I actually have some time. But it just looks inviting. It just looks lovely. So try it. You may like it. You may not, but you might like it.
I know a lot of staged homes in the real estate industry.
Yeah, we always do that.
They have the table set. It
always.
Looks as if someone's expected or something like that.
Yeah.
Makes it look more homey, I guess.
It does. And so it's the same principle, but you're using it with your own family.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah, so it looks really nice.
Huh. Okay. I would never have thought of doing that.
Placemats. Great opportunity to get out some, again, more wintry placemats as opposed to the Christmassy ones that you've probably been using. So, yeah, it just all adds to the table setting.
Okay. And it's not necessarily a formal table setting. It's just
No.
setting the table.
You're just setting the table. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, what about we are going to try and warm it up for the winter time, but it seems like a kind of time of year where, since you're not going outside all the time and you're not in that mindset of taking advantage of every nice day that you see, then maybe it's time to start doing some little projects.
Yeah, sure it is. So this is the time of year quite often, again, everything is down. People are sitting in their rooms going, I wish we had. And it could be as simple as doing a fireplace, like an insert, or you can do electrical linear ones now. So it's a fun way to kind of sit and think about what projects you may want to do. It takes 5, 6, 7 months sometimes before you can even get a contractor because everyone is booked. So it's a really good time to sit and talk about it, especially when you're at home because you don't want to go out.
Well, I have a funny story to tell you. One of our listeners shared a funny story with me. She said that it was cold and actually rainy over Christmas, and as she was lying on her couch watching Netflix, she fell asleep, and when she woke up, she was looking at the ceiling and realized, wouldn't it be nice if I had some crown molding?
Oh, yeah. See, isn't that funny?
So that's what their project is this winter. They're going to put in some crown molding.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they're looking at pricing now and what's going to go well and all this different stuff, and quite honestly, I can't imagine what it will look like, but maybe it will look nice.
Oh, I'm sure it'll look great. Crown molding in principal rooms looks amazing. It really does. You can think about, the powder room. powder rooms do not need to cost you a fortune, but it's a way to kind of rejuvenate them and make them feel fresh again. So simply by changing a wall color, maybe putting up a different mirror, maybe a new light fixture, because you've probably got a toilet and a sink and tap sets that are already good. It's just trying to change it up. So why not think about projects like that? If you want to do more of an in-depth one, like an ensuite, start looking online, start pinning some of your favorite looks. And if you need help, you call someone like me, and I can really give you some ideas as to why you're pinning some of them, even though none of them look the same. Right. Because a lot of people are now going to the freestanding tubs, which are really, really wonderful. And they don't take up as much of a visual footprint as the old built-in tubs. We also have a lot of people that are saying, okay, I have a tub in the kids' washroom. We are taking them out and doing simply huge showers. So it's your opportunity to really sit down and think, how do I want this room to look? How do I want to use it? And then as you start planning, it's not so difficult when it actually is time to start the reno, because you've done all the legwork for it.
Right. Okay. Well, that sounds really fun. Jason, let's have a little break now, and when we come back, we'll continue our discussion about winter decor with Jolana Pettifer. I'm your host, Bren Masson, and we'll be right back.